Our film begins with a young girl named Mary, who wakes up one day to find that there is no one at home to take care of her. Days pass, her clothes become dirty, and she grows hungry, so she eats spoiled food left in the house out of desperation. Eventually, a soldier finds her and discovers that her parents have died from cholera. Mary is sent to live in the mansion of her uncle, Craven, where she is forbidden to interfere or move around the house without permission. She is only allowed to go to her room, the bathroom, and a few limited places she gradually becomes familiar with. Mary enters her room and falls asleep, spending her first night in the mansion. The next day, Martha, a servant of the house, brings her breakfast. However, Mary is accustomed to a specific kind of food, as she had lived a very wealthy life with her parents before they died, so she refuses to eat what Martha offers. She also asks Martha to dress her, but Martha tells her that this is not her responsibility and that Mary must take care of herself and eat whatever is given to her. Mary is spoiled and unable to adapt to her new situation. After that, Mary walks around the mansion and notices that her uncle is ill-tempered. He is busy getting rid of his late wife's belongings and lives in deep depression because of her death, which makes him constantly irritable with everyone. Mary goes out to play in the garden and discovers that it is enormous, so she wanders through it for a long time. She hears the sound of someone whistling and follows it, but finds no one there. Later, she sits down to eat sandwiches prepared by the servants, but she does not like the food, so she throws away the filling and eats only the bread. Suddenly, a dog appears and eats the food Mary has thrown on the ground. The dog approaches her, frightening her, so she shouts at it and it runs away. After a while, as she walks on, she notices that the dog is following her and has become attached to her. She goes back up to her room and learns that dogs are not allowed inside the mansion, which upsets her because she wanted to keep the dog. The next day, Mary talks to Martha and tells her that she hears strange noises at night while she is sleeping, asking whether they are the spirits of soldiers who died in the mansion long ago. Martha, who is annoyed by Mary because she is spoiled, tells her to cover herself well while sleeping and she will not hear any noises. After that, Mary goes to the servants and asks them to prepare more sandwiches like the ones from the previous day. She takes them to the garden and throws the food to the dog there. She approaches the dog and plays with it in the garden, and they grow attached to each other until the dog suddenly runs off and leads her to a large wall. A servant calls Mary to return to the mansion, so she leaves the dog and tells it that she will see it the next day. That night, at bedtime, Mary hears the noises again and walks through the mansion to find where they are coming from. She hears the sound of a child crying coming from a room with its door open. Inside, she finds a boy named Colin and discovers that he is her cousin. It is the first time she has ever seen him. She tells him that she thought the mansion was cursed because soldiers had died there long ago. But Colin tells her that the curse came earlier and killed his mother. Mary then tells him that her parents have also died. After that, Mary falls asleep and dreams that her father emerges from beneath the blanket she is covered with. Then her mother wakes her and tells her to get out of bed. But it turns out that it is actually Martha who wakes her, bringing her breakfast and helping her change her clothes. Mrs. Medlock, the head housekeeper, arrives and shouts at Martha for being late. But Mary defends Martha and tells Mrs. Medlock that she herself is the reason for the delay, not Martha. Mrs. Medlock then takes Mary to meet Craven, who notices that Mary does not resemble her mother. It is revealed that Mary's mother had a twin sister, who was married to Craven and was Colin's mother, who has died. Craven warns Mary that if she causes any trouble, he will send her to a boarding school. Later, Mary goes to play with the dog in the garden. While they are playing, she discovers that the dog has been caught in a trap and is in great pain. She frees it, but its leg has been injured by the sharp trap, so the dog runs away in pain toward the wall, and Mary follows it. Curious about what lies beyond the wall, she climbs a tall tree beside it, but she falls without being hurt. She then searches for the dog, walking through the garden until she finds it, and realizes she is in a strange place. She goes down to a lake to cross it and reach the dog. As Mary continues to explore the garden, she notices a bird that has built its nest inside a strangely shaped statue. She takes a stick and inserts it into an opening in the statue to make the bird come out, but instead she finds a key hanging on the stick that had been inside the statue. Hearing the servants calling her, she leaves the dog and tells it that she will treat its injured leg the next day. Mary climbs the tree to cross over the wall, and as she climbs, something strange happens. The tree extends its branches as if protecting her so she does not fall. Mary returns to the mansion, and at night she hears the voice of Mrs. Medlock talking to Colin to force him to take his medicine, while he cries and refuses to take it. She leaves him and tells him that she will come back when he stops crying. Afterwards, Mary enters Colin's room and sees the wheelchair he uses because he is disabled. She sits on it and talks with Colin. He tells her that he used to enjoy going out to the garden, but the smell of the roses makes him choke and he cannot breathe. Mary tells him that she wants to help him go outside and take him to a strange place with birds and a dog, but he tells her he is not interested and asks her to leave him alone. On her way out, Mary notices a picture of Colin's mother, who looks like her, and she tells him. This changes Colin's mind, and he asks her to tell him a story to help him sleep. Mary is delighted, as her hobby is telling stories to her toys because she has no one to play with. Colin gives her a book with stories for her to read to him. Afterwards, Mary wanders through the mansion and discovers a room with a secret door leading to another room. She enters and finds expensive clothes and jewelry, and she tries them on. She then notices pictures of her mother with her aunt. She leaves the room and hears someone approaching, so she hides, discovering that it is her uncle, who had intended to knock on Colin's door but changes his mind and continues walking. The next day, Mary asks Martha what she knows about her deceased aunt. Martha tells her that she was very close to Mary's mother, that their shared hobby was painting, and that Martha had seen their last exhibition together before they passed away. Martha adds that it must have been extremely difficult for Mary's father when his sister died. Mary reflects on her mother's depression and realizes that her aunt's death was the cause. She also remembers trying once to enter her mother's room, but her father stopped her, saying her mother was ill. Mary had gotten angry and wished her mother would die. Shocked by the memory, Mary decides to dress herself without Martha's help. Martha looks at her and smiles, beginning to grow fond of Mary. Later, Mary goes to the garden and hears someone whistling. She calls out loudly, saying that she knows it is someone named Deacon who is whistling, and that Martha, his sister, had told her about him. Deacon appears, and Mary tells him that a trap he set has injured the dog. He asks her to show him where the dog is so he can treat it. Mary asks him to keep it a secret and takes him with her. They climb over the wall, and Mary tells him that the dog is on the other side. There, they find the dog limping from its injured leg. Deacon holds the dog and lays it on the ground, causing it pain. Mary thinks Deacon is hurting the dog and asks him to stop, but he explains that if he doesn't do this, the dog could lose its leg or even its life. Deacon tells her that the dog's leg bone is not broken but has been infected due to the contaminated trap, and he asks her to take it to a place with water. The three of them go together, and Deacon washes the dog's leg in the lake and wipes it with a cloth, but the dog still limps and suffers. Mary waits, hoping some magic will heal the dog. Deacon tells her that they can return the next day to see if there is magic in the garden and whether the dog will improve. At night, Mary goes to Colin and tells him she wants to share a secret, asking him not to tell anyone. He agrees, and she tells him the story of the dog and the garden. Later, Mary sits on Colin's wheelchair and tells him that she knows his back is not really injured as he claims, asking him to trust her because she wants to show him something. She moves the wheelchair, and they wander through the mansion. Colin thinks she is taking him to the garden, feeling afraid that he might choke and die because of the roses, but she tells him she wants to show him something else. She takes him into his mother's secret room and shows him a picture of his mother and her sister together. Colin is upset and does not want to see his mother because he believes she abandoned him and left him alone. Mary then shows him another picture of their mothers together in the secret garden behind the wall. Colin looks at the picture and realizes that he and Mary were children in their mother's arms at that time. Mary tells him that they had met before and that he was able to walk. Colin becomes angry and says that Mary is jealous because his mother loved him, unlike her mother who did not love her. Mary is upset by his words and almost strikes him in the face, but Colin gets scared and screams loudly. Mary puts her hand over his mouth and holds him, causing him to fall from the wheelchair. She sees that his back is not injured as he claimed. Colin is convinced that his back is injured, but Mary assures him that his back is fine and that he is suffering only from a psychological trauma. Mary then helps him to stand up and sit in the wheelchair. The next day, she goes to the secret garden and finds Deacon there. She also notices that the dog's condition has improved and that it now moves more freely than before, convincing her that the magical garden water helped heal it. The three of them then run together in the garden and play, until they accidentally discover the garden gate. Mary realizes that the key she found inside the statue belongs to this gate. Mary then takes Colin, and they sneak into the mansion so that no one notices them, arriving at Colin's room. However, Colin is angry with her for what she did the previous night and begins shouting loudly until the servants come in and grab Mary. Martha happens to be nearby, sees Mary, and warns her that she could be punished if anyone sees her there. Medlock appears because of Colin screaming, so Martha hides the children and tells Medlock that she will find out the reason for Colin's cries. Then Medlock leaves. They then enter Colin's room. Mary introduces Deacon to Colin, and she tells Martha that she will take Colin outside and return him before lunch. Martha agrees and lets them go. Colin insists on refusing to go out to the secret garden, so Mary tells him that he can stay on the bed if he prefers, and asks whether he wants the last thing he sees to be the wall in front of him or to go with them. Colin agrees to go with them. They move outside the mansion, and Colin continues pretending to have an allergy and keeps coughing. Mary makes him take a deep breath, tells him he is fine, and helps him stop the illusion he has created. She takes him to the magical garden gate, and once they enter, Colin sees the beauty of the garden. His mood greatly improves, and he smiles for the first time. Mary asks Deacon to teach him the names of the birds and introduces him to the dog, allowing him to feed it. One day, Medlock catches Mary with a pearl necklace she had taken from her aunt's jewelry room. She takes Mary to her uncle to determine her punishment and informs him that Mary has been taking his son outside the mansion. Craven becomes angry and strikes Mary, warning her that she could endanger his son's life. They enter the secret room and find that Mary has made a mess and scattered the dresses on the floor. Craven decides to send Mary to a boarding school and remove her from his mansion. Mary becomes extremely angry and begins throwing her toys on the floor. When one toy falls, she discovers letters that someone had hidden inside the horse figure. Meanwhile, Craven goes to his late wife's room, feeling depressed and sorrowful as he removes the dresses that remind him of her. At night, Mary reads the letters, and in the morning she wakes up and escapes from the mansion, heading to the secret garden with the letters in her hand. Deacon meets her, and she tells him that she has discovered other secrets in the garden through the letters. They reach a tree with a swing attached, which her aunt used to swing on, and Mary realizes that her mother had been with her aunt in her final days to stay by her side as she was dying from illness. They used to come and sit under that tree, and her aunt had wished to die beside it. After the death of his wife, Craven closed the garden because it caused him psychological pain and reminded him of his wife's death. Mary says that time is running short, as she will be transferred to the boarding school, and that Colin must be healed through the garden's magic so he can walk again. Afterwards, they return to the mansion and wait until Medlock leaves. Then they take Colin in his wheelchair and enter the garden, descending to the lake. Colin is initially frightened and says that the water is cold, but they leave him alone in it, and he feels happy as he moves his arms freely in the water. Then Mary shows him the tree beside which his mother died. Colin looks at it and asks Deacon to bring a flower to leave it at the place where his mother passed away. Colin feels sad and asks Mary to take him back home, and he continues to cry on the way back to the mansion. On the way, something strange happens. The leaves of the plants they walk on begin to shake. That night, Mary dreams of her mother, who apologizes for not realizing that Mary's mother had been going through a difficult psychological state due to her sister's death. In the morning, Mary goes to Colin's room door, which is closed, and reads a letter that her mother had sent to her aunt, in which they discuss how her father was afraid for Colin of the outside world and therefore always kept him inside the mansion. Suddenly, the door opens, and Colin struggles to stand, telling Mary that he must read the letters. Afterwards, the two of them go with Deacon to the garden and read the letters there, discovering that their mothers had loved them very much. The next day, Mary sees the uniform for her new school, and Medlock tells her that she will be traveling the next day and must prepare herself. Mary asks why Craven lied to his son, telling him that his back was injured, and says that his mother would never have wished for her son to live the life he is living now, nor would she have stood outside his door while he cried at night as his father does. She says that Colin must live, and that this mansion is a prison for both him and Craven. After that, Craven continues to drink alcohol in his room, sinking deeper into depression because of Mary's words. He tries to light a candle with a matchstick, but the stick falls on the desk and sets it on fire. At the same time, Mary is in the garden with her friends, and the dog begins barking at something. They notice smoke rising from the mansion. They run toward it and see Martha running in their path, telling them to move away. Mary enters the burning mansion and finds Craven drunk and depressed, saying that he will not leave his son and must find him and get him out of the burning mansion. Mary tells him that his son is outside and safe, and they go out together. On the way out, Craven falls to the ground because of the smoke, feeling as if he wants to die and refusing to rise, even though Mary tells him that his son needs him. Suddenly, he sees the spirit of his wife holding his hand and helping him stand up, Then she lets go and runs away with her sister. Craven rises and reaches the hall with Mary, where Mary sees the spirit of her own mother, who touches her head, kisses her, and then departs. They are rescued together. Afterwards, Craven wants to see his son, so Mary takes him to the magical garden. Craven and Medlock see how beautiful it is, and Craven watches his son standing on his feet. Craven apologizes to his son for everything he did to him, and they embrace. In the following days, the mansion is repaired after the fire, and the three friends are together playing, enjoying the lake in the magical garden with their dog.